Soundstripe.
The Sharp and Nick Podcast.
Soundstripe.
Michael!
Beautiful football! Look at this football! Oh my, what football! This is amazing! Quite amazing! Hands are dropping! Mega popping! It's unbelievable! It's incomparable! Pretty incredible! Oh, so incredible! So incomparable! And it's beautiful! It's a beautiful! Such a cool game! Beautiful! 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 Beautiful!
Stefan, how are we?
I'm good, Sharpie, mate. You all right?
I'm all good, man. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Long time.
It has been a while, man. Been a while, but a pleasure to see your face over my screen. What a job.
You'll be glad to know that I'm not in Berlin. So,
I don't believe you.
Well, I'll send you my location.
Yeah, drop a pin, would you? Drop a pin.
I don't think anyone will know what we're referring to, but I used to I posted a few pictures of back to back online.
It was probably literally only 2 pictures. It was no more than that, and I decided that you'd.
Yeah, I just got a text from you. Yeah, are you back in Berlin again? Clearly, Edinburgh Castle's in the background. No, I'm back in Berlin.
Yeah, at that point, I think you were walking down the city road.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, yeah. So a long time since we've properly caught up. So it's nice to do it, albeit virtually. And obviously next time I'm back across the water. What happened to my accent there? Back across the water. I'll definitely get you down to the old. What was the pub the Herne Hill pub? What was it called again? We need to go there. We definitely need to go there again.
Was it the Half Moon on the corner?
Half Moon, that is it. The Half Moon pub, the little den and everything inside it.
That was all right. Wasn't it?
But I met Shaka Khan in there, randomly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to need more.
I think it was. Well, I went in during the day to do like a radio interview type thing. It was like 1 p.m. or something. And she just walked in, and I thought I recognise that person. But there was a festival happening, I think, in the area, and I think she was headlining, and she just came in. I was like,
Chaka Khan.
Sure. What was she drinking? Do you know?
Fuck knows, man. I can't remember. I don't know. A wine or something, a cocktail maybe. I don't know. But,
I just like the idea that she
early morning. No, it was early
4
afternoon.
pints of Stella and just sat down for a sesh.
Pint of Guinness.
Yeah. How was your afternoon? Yeah, sat with Nile Rodgers in the Half Moon in Herne Hill getting lashed.
But that's been a famous pub as well, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they used to have gigs there in the past.
Dixon,
right?
yeah.
The past.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, before us young whippersnappers got involved. Yeah,
I'm gonna actually.
Oh yeah, do you know what? I'll join you.
For a
pal.
little,
I'll join you.
Since we've not done it for a while.
What are you drinking there, buddy?
I am drinking. Is it German? Is it German's finest? I think. Erdinger, sorry, Erdinger.
Oh, Erdinger. Don't mind it. It's a nice Friday afternoon tipple.
Yeah, I'm not a big beer fan. As you can tell by the
Yeah, your pronunciation of Erdinger. Oh, what the hell have you done to that beer? Oh, shocking. What did it do to you, mate?
Oh, just drink out the bottle. It's classy. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers. You're very
Man,
good
to
health.
you. To your health,
I mean,
Steph.
technically, there is an argument that as I am officially working, I shouldn't be drinking at 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, but
It's it's the afternoon somewhere. You know, it's usually 12. The old saying is it's 12 somewhere, isn't it? So
I've got my emails open. That'll do.
Stefan. Those who don't know you, there'll be a lot as well who do. But first of all, friend. Second of all, author. Can you call you an author now?
Yeah. Do you know what? Do it.
Author Stefan Appleby. What a book, by the way.
Look at it.
What a
Thanks,
book.
buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you. There it is in all its glory. Okay.
Honestly, I've not laughed reading a book since I was reading my own memoirs. But no, honestly, what I read, it's what I talk about when I talk about non-league football. Try saying that when you've had a few.
Yeah. In hindsight, I could have made that title shorter. But look, it is what I talk about when I talk about non-league football. So It's all in there. It's all in there.
So what was the inspiration behind the book then?
So cast your mind back to March 2020 when all of this COVID nonsense first hit, and I got put on furlough for the 3 months, I think, from then to March, April, May of that year, like many other people, right?
Yeah.
And I kind
Good
of
times.
yeah, what a joy. And I had like, for the first couple of days, I was like, "Hey, this is all right. I'm, sitting on my ass watching Friends. It's like I could live like this."
I think everybody's Netflix got a good pounding back there
Yeah,
as
I
well.
got a real hammer in, right? And then, kind of after like day 3, 4, and 5, I'm starting to think I'm just going to sit here and have a drink all day, aren't I? I'm just going to get absolutely battered all day, and I don't think that's practical or healthy or affordable. So I was like, right, I need to do something, and I had so the book itself is kind of a 10-year journey of the football club that I support, who are called Gresley Rovers, and I had like programs from all of the games that I had been to, either at Gresley or the away games that I travelled to. So I go most weekends. I mean, sort of, some years when things are happening, I don't. But try by and large to get to as many as I possibly can. But I had all these programs, and I was like, I've got all of this crap just lobbed in a box upstairs. I'll go through it. I'll just start sorting it
Yeah,
out.
as you do. Yeah, you start
And
to.
then I started sorting it out, and you put it into piles of kind of, okay, this is 98, 99, 2000, whatever, the years that I went to the games, and kind of rolling them on from there. And then as I looked in the kind of pile from 2010 through 2020, I was like, oh, that's a decent kind of 10-year chunk of time. And I was like, loads of things happened to the club in that time. Like they went bust just before it, and then they reformed,
Yeah.
and then they
Changed
their
the name, yeah.
back again. So they were Gresley Rovers when they went bust. They reformed under the name Gresley FC, as a lot of non-league clubs do. And then after 7 years, and I didn't know this, but after 7 years, apparently you're allowed to change your name back again.
So the whole thing where you can fake your death and can come back after 7 years. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they Gresley Rovers again. But during that 10-year period, they had to start from the bottom, in inverted commas, work their way up. So there's a couple of promotions, then a couple of relegations, a couple more promotions, a playoff run, and various things kind of related to the football club, which is kind of like a standard football story, certainly down at that level. There's ups, downs, no one's got any money, blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. And then because I'd gone to these games, and there's that kind of unique atmosphere that non-league has that you don't get at the Emirates or Parkhead or whatever you are, like with respect to all of it, right?
Yeah.
You purely because there's only 200 of you in there, and just the same people every week. You know everybody, and you know who's behind the bar. You know who's working the canteen or whatever. And then because I was going to away games, I was exploring, and forgive my language here, some shitty places across the Midlands and the north of England, particularly. But all of these places kind of had like a unique charm. It's the kind of place that I was brought up. It's like a pit village that's in the middle of nowhere that no one knows where it is, right? Similar to you, right? It's
no one knows where East Whitburn is, or even Bathgate for that. Maybe Capaldi's put it on the map a little bit, or Susan Boyle.
Yeah,
but
you've got an ambassador now.
We've got a couple. Yeah, so no one knows where it is. So it's very hard to describe to someone without having to show them on a map and zoom right in to go, this is my shithole of a town.
Yeah, you're doing the pinching zoom motion.
Yeah, pinching
like
zoom
a
motion.
lot of times to get to where we are. Right?
And it's a cluster of mining villages as well, which again, obviously reading the books and knowing you is where you grew up, and it's home. It's home.
So I kind of wanted to, looking back at all of those games, looking back at all of the kind of days out that I'd had, and it is about the day out. Like the game itself, fine. We all, we watch the footy.
Part of the day, yeah.
It is what it is. But if you've got particularly as I do, I live in London now, and the club I support is in the middle of South Derbyshire, it's the middle of the country. It's a couple of hours on the train. And because the leagues are regionalised, all of the teams are kind of there or thereabouts. So it's a couple of hours on the train up, a couple of hours on the train back. Your time.
Are you still going to the games now as well?
Yeah, as much as I can. So this year I've been to Wolverhampton and Atherstone and Cambridge. So yeah, again around about. But I was like, they're great days out. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
time it so you spend a couple hours in the pub. So you get to meet a couple of people, throw some darts in the background and listen to old men, usually being racist, but sometimes being nice. But listen to local old men having chats. Try and avoid them. But there's the funny moments as well. And I kind of was like, do you know what? I've had some good times over the last 10 years. And it coincided with me kind of going from 30 to 40. Like I was a child at the age of 30, absolute child. Like,
Yeah, well, I remember reading about your first
no,
game, and it was your 18th. Well, not your first game, but one of your first games was around about your 18th birthday, right?
yeah. I spent the evening of my 18th at the game, yeah, just because it was a Tuesday night, like,
Hmm.
and we'd had, we'd had a get together on the Saturday, which was as raucous as an 18th birthday party is and should
Yeah.
be. But then on the Tuesday night, yeah, it was just me standing alone in this foggy village in Derbyshire, watching Gresley playing Bromsgrove, I think.
But they were almost a stone throw away from your childhood home, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Like you could look out. If you looked out from the back of our house, my sister's bedroom window overlooked kind of a quarter of the pitch. So you could see the ground clearly, but you could see like a quarter of the pitch.
Yeah.
And so the first, like before I even went through the door of the place, I was like, "What is that weird mythical land over yonder? What is that shining floodlight and that beautiful green
Floodlights.
grass?" And then, you're like, oh, it looks amazing. What's happening over there? Yeah, hearing cheering and whatever. And then you go there, and obviously it's crap. But you're like, oh, this is ace. Like, it felt like something, man. It felt like it was just nice to be in that environment. Nice to be somewhere. Nice to see what this other life was at the time. Like, who are these people? What are they doing? What are they talking about? What are they singing about? Who are these people they're watching? Why? Like, what is all this? And then you eat Britain's worst burger and go home, and it's fantastic. Like it is.
But
It
the
is what
lure
it's
of it, though,
supposed to
like
be.
it's like a moth to the
Yeah,
flame, almost like to
yeah,
the
yeah,
floodlights, like you said. It's just you're drawn to it, especially if, like when you're a kid as well. I mean, 18 still,
yeah,
but technically you're still a kid as well. I think.
yeah.
And
I mean, like I said, I was still a kid at 30, so yeah, 18, I was
yeah,
barely
yeah.
born.
I mean, I can only resonate a little bit more as when I was playing football back then, and we traveled to these other different grounds as well. And sometimes you'd go and watch an older cousin or a friend or whatever they play like the junior level as well. So that's the only thing I can relate to. Albeit I have been to before Livingston were in the Premiership in Scotland. I'd been to a few of their games in Falkirk as well. So you get that sense of the non-league vibe, but they're very much in leagues anyway.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, no, it's it's almost a nostalgic feel to non-league football. I feel because it's still like the heart, isn't it? It's still the root of what the big clubs
yeah.
are today, in a sense.
It is. I think there's a weird kind of, what's the right way of phrasing this? There is a nostalgic feel to it. There is an old school feel to it, and that it's all the better for it.
Mm,
The stadiums are ramshackle old things, usually properly tucked away in the middle of their housing estate. And,
yeah,
as old football should be. And you talk to anybody who's like, oh yeah, I miss the days of going to a proper old football stadium surrounded by terraced housing, yada yada yada. And there is that. It is great, but there is, I think, an understanding now that they kind of have to work a little bit harder to stay alive.
yeah.
And that's where it becomes a little bit tricky, because it's just impossible to run any organization on the funds generated by 100 people coming through a gate every Saturday. If those 100 people are paying £8, you've got 800 quid to pay lighting, electricity, gas, whatever, right? And it's like, it's just
Mm.
not, it ain't feasible. So there's a kind of understanding that I think things that they're trying to modernize, trying to stay in business, and this is as true for my club as it is for anybody else's. But yeah, it's interesting to see what they're all trying to do.
It's a unique charm, I think,
Yeah,
of non-league football. That it's, like I said, we were still there. We touched on the nostalgic element to it,
yeah,
but what do you think makes like non-league football so special in a sense, or appealing? Obviously there's the sense of community there as well.
yeah. If you ask anybody who watches non-league football what it is they like, the first word they say is the community thing, and it's true. It is true, but it's become a cliche. And the thing I like, and I think I mentioned this in the book, is like it's the little things, like the things you don't get at the larger grounds that are peculiar to the smaller places. Like
Some of the
the
like the
lower down,
humor as well.
yeah, the humour, the one-liners that you can hear loudly because there's no one in the ground. The fact you can. One of my favorite moments was we were watching Gresley in a place called Brighouse, which is up near Huddersfield, just outside Huddersfield, around there. Top of a hill, like lovely, picturesque place, beautiful. Anyway, Brighouse played us off the park 2-0, I think, and there. Our left back was playing forward, like left back, left wing. He was he was running down. We were standing on the touchline that side, and he was kind of running past us. But it was. I'm being kind to him and saying he could have lost a pound or two, maybe. I'll tell you what, though, he's got a hammer of a left foot, but could have lost a pound or two to get up and down that touchline a bit quicker. Anyhow. He ran. He'd had a couple of runs against their right back.
I thought you were going to say he had a couple of half-time pies.
Yeah, he may well have done a couple of half-time skulls, I think. So anyway, he'd come back from his skull, and he was taking on their right back, and the right back kind of put it out for a throw or whatever, and he took him on again, and just about got beaten, but almost had him. Anyways, he's coming back. One of our guys on the touchline was like, "Oh, go on, Lucas, you've got him. He's shit." And Lucas just turned to us with this red, sweating face, like in agony, just went, "Yeah, so am I." I was like, "Yeah, perfect. That's what you want from your football.
That's what you want, yeah.
Like
you don't get that. You don't get the Premiership.
Yeah, it's like Saka's not turning round to the right hand side of the Emirates and going, "Yeah, I'm shit, mate." Like, there's none of that. Right? That's what you want, mate.
God.
It's it's just little things like that, man. Do you know what I mean? And like the little moments. It sounds pathetic, but like you're standing in this like shed with a corrugated iron roof, wherever you are, it's all the same. Every non-league ground.
Yeah, there's the smell of Bovril in the air. Especially at night time, when you've got the lights on. You've got if it's raining, you're just like, I've not got a brolly, or I've got to endure 90 minutes of this shit. But I'm here because I love my team. Yeah,
I've not taken a brolly, or on the two occasions I have taken a brolly. I took it to a place called Thurmby and it got stuck in the mud and I literally couldn't get it out. It was proper like sword in the stone shit, trying to lift this umbrella out of the mud. Like genuinely had to leave. I had it was like a big golf umbrella I'd nicked from a pub or found in a pub. So it wasn't mine. I hadn't paid money for it.
Oh, that's fine then. It's not
big old beast of a thing. And I just put it in the mud. Just like I put it down in the ground as I was standing next to the pitch. And then to get it, like it was raining constantly, but then to get it out, it just wouldn't come out. It like sunk in. And so genuinely, there's an umbrella of mine somewhere in Leicestershire that someone's nabbed. So there's that. And then there's the other, there was a day we were supposed to go to a place called Stocksbridge, in South Yorkshire. And it got rained off, but we were already on the train when it got rained off. So on our way up there, the train to Sheffield, we're like, right, that's a pain in the arse. But we're on the train, so we either get off the train, in Derby and turn round, or, but we might as well go to Sheffield and have a couple of cans. Like, we've got a ticket to Sheffield now. Like, this is where we are.
Make the most of it.
Yeah, make the most of it, right? And we're looking. I was like, well, actually, Barnsley. There's a game on at Barnsley. They're at home to Pompey. Like, should we go and watch that? I was like, yeah, all right. Well, let's get in the away end there. So we went in the away end there. On the way in, I had my brolly with me because I was going to a non-league ground. So you can take whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I had a man's bag with me, in which I carry all of my
over strap.
Oh yeah, standard, mate, standard. It's very, very of its time, but it's important when you're spending all day out the house to make sure you've got your.
You've got to have your essentials with you.
Yeah, a couple of cans and a bag of Anadin, and you've got what you need in a bag, right? Anyway, I got on the bag and I walked up to the gate, the turnstile at Barnsley, and the fella's like, "I'll need to check your bag." Yeah, fine, no dramas. So he checked my bag, all good. I was like, "I'll need to take that off you though." I was like, "What?" I was the umbrella. So he confiscated my umbrella. I was like, "What? Okay, like, I don't know who you think I am, but if you think I can kill a man with an umbrella, then fair play." Like poison dart, like Litvinenko stuff. But like, I was like, I'm obviously not going to kill anybody with an umbrella in the away end at Barnsley. But the best thing about it was,
imagine the headlines though.
Yeah. If he had let me. But so he took that off me. But in the bag that I had my darts in there, and he left them with me. Oh. So I walked in with like 2 full sets of arrows, and he's nicked this umbrella off me. I'm like, walked in, I was like, fella's an absolute clown. Like, come on, mate.
That's a power trip if I've ever seen one.
It's absolutely amazing. Just
You've
like,
got Barnsley and Pompey at 7:45, and you've got darts at 9:50. You know.
it's also like, he obviously says a lot about what he thought my darting skill was like. They thought the umbrella could cause more damage than my darts. Like, this fella's not in anyone with those bad boys.
Approaching the hockey, Mr. Appleby.
Yeah. Ping, ping, ping.
Talk us through. Oh, first, actually, at one point, WKD is featured in this book.
Yeah.
Where did that fascination start at and end, if it has?
Where did it
Which I don't
start?
think it has.
Being a child is the answer to that. Like, I got a real taste for it. Like, do you know what? We started drinking WKD when I lived in Lancaster for a year, and I worked in a pub, so I was the manager of the pub, and lived above the shop. And we sold WKD for an insanely cheap price, like much cheaper than it should have been. And so I was like, "Oh, fuck it! It's only a quid or whatever, so I'll have a bottle of that." And it's sweet, it's easy to drink. It's all the things like
It's goes right down.
like no messing around here. It's like, if you have a lager, I'm a bit bloated. Whatever. Like, I don't want to drink a lot of stuff. Anyway, I just started drinking it, and then like couldn't stop. Like, oh yeah, I drink this now.
Yeah, it becomes addictive a little bit.
Yeah, it's mad. And we did. I remember we did a pub crawl of Preston. I mean, why is a valid question at this point, and I genuinely don't know the answer. But we did a pub crawl of Preston. Wait, I mean, that would have given it a reason and a point, but it didn't have one. It was just like, let's go on the lash in Preston. And so we went on the tour of the pubs of Preston, but with the caveat that we could only drink Iron Brew WKD. Like,
I was just going to say, actually, we have that the Iron Brew version. I don't know if it's ventured south. No,
it doesn't taste like Iron Brew. I'll tell you that for nothing.
No.
You've probably got more experience in that regard than I. But yeah, it certainly isn't. But yeah, and then the blue WKD thing, because it simply became 15-minute half time at football, right? Yeah. That is not enough time. Well, it is enough time to have a pint, but it's not enough time to like enjoy a pint.
Yeah.
You've got to like throw 500 milliliters of liquid down your throat, which is awful. Whereas with like the sugarier drinks, your Wickeds, your Smirnoff Ice, or whatever,
you get 4 in there.
Yeah, I've got 2 minutes on this. 2 minutes on this. Yeah, but it was just like, it's simple, quick, easy. It's in a bottle. We don't have to worry about anything. We just get it straight down us, and it's just arguably we didn't need to have an alcoholic drink in that 15-minute gap. There is an argument.
No, but it adds to the whole camaraderie, does it? It adds to the experience of
it's
like a non-league game here. Let's make it interesting a little bit. Yeah. How did you manage to intertwine like your personal experiences with the history of the club? Because you travelled to the arse end of nowhere for some of these games as well.
Yep.
So like, what challenges did you face having to, like, obviously, like I said, intertwine both your personal like experiences with the clubs as well? Because the clubs, like you said at the start, like the history of the club is up and down, name changing, getting into league like promotion or whatever, and fighting for promotion, and enjoying the FA Cup runs and things like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of things there. I think one of the things, when I started going through all of these programs and looking back at all of these seasons, and fortunately, I support a football team that has has a decent website and has a good archive of all the results. So I was able to, let's just say, for various reasons, there may have been some games that I don't recall as vividly as I may.
Are we talking heavy pumpings?
For WKD based reasons, I think.
Oh, right, okay. I thought I was like the score was like cricket score.
No. Oh, they're the ones I remember. I remember those.
It's definitely a WKD thing, right?
Yeah, they're unforgettable, pal. But yeah, like as I was going through, they were like, you'd started like going, okay, well, yeah, we went up that year, or we went down that year, or whatever. I was like, well, actually, that was the year that we moved into this house, or that was the year that I got this job, or that's when we got married. Like, so like there were these, spikes of joy or pain. That was the year I got made redundant. Score. Like,
maybe, enhance them a little bit for the purpose of the book, or they're just straight off the cuff and they're that vivid that you remember them?
Everything in there is true, and everything in there is well, actually, the one thing in there is not true, and that is that I got a fact wrong in that I said that Swaddling Coat, the nearest town to Gresley, has a Frankie and Benny's. It does not. That is a factual inaccuracy, and I apologise to everybody who reads the book. It was kindly pointed out to me on social media. It's like, come on, mate, just move on.
Yeah, let it go. It's a small technicality.
Anyway, admittedly, that small technicality is in the first couple of pages and does, it is an error. Anyway, everything else, all true. All the things that happened. All the things that were said. I mean, one of those things where you report a story and it might not be exactly the words that were said, but the vibe is true. So it's all there. I'm quite. There's a couple of reasons there's a couple of ways in which I'm fortunate. So, firstly, from like as I said, the match report point of view, the website can help with that, and that
really
jogs memories about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And then separately, I was always with a couple of people or another person or whatever. So there's always a few of us who went, and thirdly, whether this is fortunate or not, a lot of that 10-year period is during the rise of Facebook and Twitter. And so I was saying various things on social. I could go back through my social media profile and say, oh, yeah, I said that, or there's that picture from that day. Oh, yeah. Oh, because that happened. And it kind of jogged the memories about what happened. And so I was able to ask a couple of mates, and I was able to look back through all of that stuff. So there's this kind of incomplete record of what happened. And there'll be thousands and thousands of things that happened on those days out that I don't remember, that were hilarious. And we always say there's a mate of ours called Tom who is he's a lovely boy. He's a lovely boy, but he averages one funny line a year. Like
so Tom's me of your group of mates, right?
Yeah. He's sharpie displaced. He's very sharpie. Yeah, we should change his name.
Sharpie 2.0.
Yeah. Anyhow, he's a really good boy, but he's not. Every now and then, and it is every now and then, he will say one humorous line, and it will be the best thing you've ever heard, like absolutely next level, fantastic, right? And the trouble with it is that he always utters this line at a point when all of us are absolutely battered, and none of us can recall what the line was, what the lead up to his comedy response was. So we can never paint a full picture of the funny thing he said. So the myth about him being not funny just keeps on and on and on, because nobody,
it's a joke in itself. Yeah,
nobody can put it in context. And there was a lot. I remember the day we went. Oh, where were we going? We were traveling on Southern train somewhere. Anyhow, we're on the train on the way there or the way back. Must be the way back. And conversation's flowing. Blah blah blah. Good laugh, whatever. And someone said something, and his response was quite simply, like the Icelandic economy. Now, all I have, and I will invite anybody listening to create the run-up to that punchline, because at the time he said it, it was the single funniest thing I had ever heard. And all of us went. It was brilliant. The timing, the line, in relation to what it was absolutely superb. And I don't think it was a basic, it wasn't a basic joke. It had layers to it, and levels.
That only made sense in his head.
Yeah. Well, it made sense in all of our heads at the time. But, the day after, I was like, I know that he said the Icelandic economy. I know it was brilliant. But I can't for the life of me remember why. And so there's loads of moments like that where the stories that happened, and I cannot quite piece them together. I'd love to be able to do that. But luckily, going back to it, there's loads of things I could put together, like jigsaw wise. Like some of it's in here, some of it's in the head, some of it's on the website, some of it's on social. So
well, that's the thing as well. The fact that the club's got such a good online in presence in terms of having those archived fixtures and score results and everything like that. Are the programs online as well?
No. So the programs are all in. Oh, you can't see, but on the top of the things behind me, there's a box up there, which has got them all in. So yeah, they're all physical hard copies of programs. So
What's the biggest fixture on that you've got then from the programs? Like, what would you say is either the most memorable game or the one that's got the biggest name, the biggest team name on it?
the biggest in that from that 10-year period that Gresley played was Wrexham in the FA Trophy in 2016, I want to say. I think so. We lost 2-1 at Wrexham in 2016, and I vividly remember that game. I mean, Wrexham are what they are now, right? Like, there are people in
the second oldest club in the football league.
Yeah, there's all of that sort of stuff, right? But yeah, there's like, there are people in the small farming towns of Idaho who know Wrexham are now because of what's happening.
Because of what's happened. Yeah,
but at the time, Wrexham were just Wrexham, and to football fans, it'd be okay. It's the club that put Arsenal out the cup in '91 or whatever it was. It's there's a couple of moments you might remember Wrexham from, but broadly, it was just that's the club that's always been Wrexham.
Yeah, it was always FA Cup runs or something like that, like an odd game.
Yeah. It's the only time Wrexham ever became on the wider. Yeah. But yeah, so when we played them, they were struggling. They weren't a good team. They're in the conference, but they weren't a good team. And I remember when that was announced on Twitter, actually, their fans. So it's like, number 3, Wrexham will play. Number 62, Gresley, whatever it was. This is in the FA Trophy. And their fans on Twitter responding to Wrexham saying, "Oh, we're at home to Gresley on November the 3rd, whatever it was." Their fans saying, because Gresley fans were like, "Oh, wow, amazing, we're going to Wrexham." Do you know what I mean? It's like an actual club that people have actually heard of with an actual stadium in an actual town with
another
an actual
country.
train station. Yeah, in another country. Like, it had all of these things that a lot of the villages we were visiting in Derbyshire, Leicestershire, Staffordshire, and Nottinghamshire did not have.
No,
and.
You didn't have Rod Stewart drawing the balls out, did you?
Absolutely battered, yeah.
That would have been funny.
On Twitter, we're all like, "Oh my God, we've got Wrexham, this is brilliant." Do you know what I mean? And the Wrexham fans I remember one vividly who just went, "Oh my God, we're the big club." Like, because they were so used to being like the underdog, the team that beat Arsenal, yada, 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 right? But they were like, "Oh my God, we're the big club," and they were like, "Oh, we've
that's a lot of pressure
sunk.
as well."
Yeah, I think they felt the pressure, but they were just like, "Oh God." So they
was it 2-1? You said it was the score in that game.
We lost 2-1. Yeah, we were 2-0 down, scored in the 86th or something to make it look a bit more.
So there's a bit of hope towards the end there.
The last 5 minutes of that game was superb. Just like really trying to have a go against a team a couple of leagues above, and we took a couple of hundred to Wrexham, and it was superb. I mean, the attendance that day was only about 1,800. Like, for Wrexham, who were filling out now, getting 11,000 or whatever. I mean, look, I don't begrudge Wrexham success.
No, of course not. I mean, I'm becoming a bit of a fan of them, maybe just because I'm a massive Rob McElhenney fan.
Yeah.
And of course Ryan Reynolds, but I'm about to watch the second series of Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah, I've watched the first one, but not the second.
Yeah, the same, and it's you do get drawn into it. Yeah. Again, like you said, like the whole underdog thing, the sense of community that they're doing, like a really good thing. Like, you can't hate them.
Yeah.
So
that's it. I don't begrudge them. Those two are likable boys. It is. They're a proper team. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've always been a proper club, so I've got no problem with it. It's just I can see why some teams at that level might be a little bit grumpy about the situation. I don't know. Anytime any team buys their way out of a division, people are like, "Fuck off," and I get it, and it's fair.
No, of course, because I think what they're trying to or keep or maintain and amplify that community aspect as well. Like, they're giving a lot back to that side of things, whereas the bigger owners with they're buying United and things like that, they don't give a shit about the fans.
Yeah.
You don't see their owners in the pub having shots till fucking 1 a.m. or something. Do you know what I mean? So, in
some ways, that is a good thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think Wrexham aside, there's no. I mean, we've played a couple of conference teams in our time. Played Morecambe, who in our league team, but by and large, it's not a massive roster of teams that we've played against. I mean, Jamie Vardy played at ours when he was at Stocksbridge before.
Yeah, I remember. I think that's what I was trying to think. Was obviously you've mentioned that in the book as well, and he didn't score against you.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
I mean, they won 5-0, 6-0 or whatever.
yeah,
They
but
absolutely,
you already thought you had at least got a hat trick in that, but he couldn't put one past you. So
they ran us ragged, but we kept him out.
get
So,
up, you Vardy.
1-0 Vardy. What you got? Hey, do you know what? I was thinking about Vardy. I was watching.
Good player, really good player.
Oh, really good player, man. He scored this week, and I was thinking about him. And like,
But now he never scored against Cressley.
yeah, like we are. Yeah. We're better than Liverpool. Vardy never got anything against us.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
at the time, Vardy was like 8. Do you know what I mean? Because he had a tag on his ankle. Like this is a long time ago. I was thinking about Vardy. You know the trial, like his wife and Colleen Rooney, like
Agatha
Christie
Christie,
thing.
sorry, I'm just... God, so petty.
It was it is petty, but I was really engrossed by it for whatever reason. I love a bit of gossip, right? I was thinking, there's a moment that was on telly again last week. I think it was a Channel 4 program about the trial, right?
Dispatches kind of series, but
Yeah,
homing
I
in on
think
the
so.
yeah.
But it was like more of a here's what happened and here's what happened, and there was a moment which I'd completely forgotten about where they had what's her name, Rebecca Vardy and Colleen Rooney kind of coming up that scrum of photographers you always get outside a big trial, right? So all these paps and massive hordes of photographers and journalists, and you've got your correspondent from Channel 4 News and your correspondent from the BBC and all this blah 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 doing outside, and here they are, the arrival of blah blah blah, all of that stuff, right? And there was a shot of all of these photographers scrumming to try and get the best pick of whichever one of them it was coming in, and I think I've identified the most, and I'm going to say English rather than British, but
Thanks.
I think it's the most English moment of all time, right? Which is this trial existing. I think is a peculiarly British thing. I'll say that's British,
Well, yeah,
but
it's not as if it's Depp versus Heard, It's not
My dog stepped on a bee.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's
Sure.
peculiarly British that it is the wife of a man, Jamie Vardy, who is a scrote, right? He is a wee scrote, right? And then the wife of a man in Wayne Rooney, who is like a very, very, very good at what he does, but is a council estate potato, right? So you've got these two, the wives of these two lads. And so it's a very kind of British setup in the first instance, right? And then outside this massive trial at the Old Bailey, very British setting, like old courthouse. You got Fleet Street there, you got the Strand. You've got this big, amazing setting in terms of like the grandeur of the past and the colliding with this modern setting of these two guys and their wives. And then this photographer scrum outside it, they're all like, get out of the way. Oh yeah, Rebecca, get a picture, all that. And then in the background, there's this one paparazzi photographer who obviously somebody's got in his way as he's tried to take a photo, and he just goes, "Oh, get out of the way, you div!" And I don't think I've ever heard a more.
Was that live on Sky or something at the time, or was
it
it
on Channel 4? I think. But like, I don't think I've ever heard a more English phrase than "get out of the way, you div." In like this broad, like southern.
Was it Cockney
Kent or English, whatever it was? Get out of the way, you div! Absolutely incredible. I don't think the word div exists in any other culture.
No, it doesn't. And I haven't heard it for a long time
what's
either.
the Dutch for div? Like, do you know what I mean? Is there an equivalent? Like, what are they saying on the streets of Nijmegen? Like,
Sukkel, which is like idiot.
Okay.
Or could.
Anyway, that's where Vardy went.
Vardy
went from Gresley to that. I mean, that was his 10 years. My 10 years was, going from 30 to 40 and watching footy. His was playing at Gresley to going at the Old Bailey. I don't know who had the better path. I mean, he won the league in the middle of it, I guess. I didn't have that.
Yeah, well, again, that was a random league win as well.
That was a strange little time, right?
It's a light-hearted book. There's obviously the humorous accounts of your drunken antics during away matches, as we've kind of touched on as well, and which is a nice layer to the storytelling. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that 10-year period which you covered, obviously traveling. When did you move out? Was it 98 or something? You moved away.
So 98, I went to uni, and then moved down south in 03. So I've been down south since then. 20 years this year. Wow! Happy birthday!
Oh wow! Then happy travels there.
But yeah, the period is 2010 through 2020, and it kind of made sense. It bookended the club being called Gresley FC, but also it kind of went me going 30 through 40 was kind of like loads of grown up stuff started happening,
Yeah.
like getting married and things like that. So things you don't really think
Yeah,
about.
so how we haven't spoken about stuff yet. How was she with the book
Yeah,
in terms of
good, man.
being mentioned in it and
So I got sign off
being a
from her on all of the
good
mentions.
good what a hero, by the way.
She's good, man.
Yeah.
She puts up with a bit, in good faith. I think she likes me being out of the house on Saturday, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, it's just like getting on with something. You know,
And,
you'd be watching it at home anyway if it was on TV.
yeah. No one's as yet streaming Gresley games. I think that would be a.
Do you know what I would love though? I would love if you did like that kind of like Welcome to Gresley. You did like a fly in the wall documentary
Like
of.
Do you know what there is genuinely, as we speak right now,
Is it in the mix? Please tell me it's in the
not
mix.
from me, but like the
Oh.
first episode of what are they calling it? Oh, sorry, I was just going to have a look. But I can't remember. But somebody has been filming Gresley this season for a
Amazing.
YouTube.
Is that
podcast.
so it's not off the back of the book, or is it
No,
just?
no, it's it's nothing to do with me. It's entirely unrelated. And the first ep is on YouTube now, I think.
Because a lot of I mean, I follow some of I follow NBA as well, as well as the National Hockey League. So like I think during the pandemic, I caught on to All or Nothing. And it was the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
They had like a little kind of series, but they do like mini series on YouTube, like a 7-minute episode or a 17-minute episode or whatever, every other week of their stuff. So that's how I'm gonna imagine it as you're telling me. I would love to see something like that with clubs of non-league status, like doing little things like that. Because All or Nothing's not obviously exclusive to everyone, but if you're doing it and putting it on YouTube, and it gives you like you said, that insight into the day to day of clubs like that.
It's called Being Gresley Rovers, and it's on YouTube. Episode 1 was literally put up an hour ago, so it's right there now. But yeah, I've not watched it yet. Don't know if it's any good. But yeah, it kind of goes back to what we're talking about, right? Like clubs at that level, sure, they can get by on 200 a week, maybe they can just about scrape by, but they need to kind of think about other stuff, and they need to do a bit more modern stuff, and they need to appeal to more people to get them through the door, and they need to become a bit more than just a patch of grass that 200 old men go and watch them around every week. So this is the right
that's what
thing
you were
to
saying
do.
as well. Yeah, like even like it's just amplifying their social media presence, for example.
Yeah.
Would do that, whether it's like a 15-second story on Instagram or something like that, or like little short clips.
Yeah.
Just to reach to a wider audience, especially the younger audience as well coming through.
Well, this is the
You
thing.
never know.
Like, if it just makes 50 people aware that this team exists, and if they're ever going, oh, I'm in the area there or thereabouts, like I can pop down the road and I can watch them.
Yeah.
Like, just that's all it's about, man. Do you know what I mean? I didn't write this. Let's be honest. I've not written a book about the most niche topic imaginable to become rich, right?
I mean, no, it's very niche, and it's almost like it's with your own personal accounts, and that
it's a
intertwined
personal
with
story, right?
with the triumphs and tribulations of a non-league football club.
Yeah, that's it. It's not, I'm not sitting here going, my ambition is to be J.K. Rowling in terms of the money in the bank, forgetting everything else about J.K. Rowling. But my ambition is not to be, massively rich off the back of this. What I wanted to do was tell the genuine story of what it's like to be a fan of a non-league football club, and what it's like is it's fucking funny. Like it.
Well, no, it is. It's you take the like I say the piss and rain or the cold weather sinking into your bones. Like you take all that out of the equation. It is an enjoyable thing because you build memories. You're going to the games with friends, whether you win or lose or draw, it doesn't matter. You've experienced something for 90 minutes.
It's
memories that you're capitalizing on as well. And yeah, I mean, it was a great read. Like you said, it can be humorous. It can be shit at times, but that's the way it goes.
There's some shitness in there, and that's the thing. It's like the good times. It just so happens that for me, some of the good times overlaid with some of the good times for the club, and the poor times, which you read about in the book, overlaid with some of the poor times for the club. And it's up, it's down. It's just get out of the house, man. Do you know what I mean? Like just get out of the house. I mean, I know you're in there as much as me on that, but just focus on something for an hour and a half, because it's very easy to sit down and wallow. And I'm not saying go for a 2-hour run, but just look at something else for a little bit and
Do something
have
different,
a
yeah.
drink, stand with a couple of people, just watch something. And
Yeah, because even if there's periods of any game, I mean, I'll admittedly, I've fallen asleep. I used to be a season ticket at Celtic, and it was Strachan season was the last time I was a season ticket holder. I fell asleep watching Celtic v St Mirren. Second half was that dry,
amazing.
and there was that so much. I was focusing on Kenny Miller, right? Who, I've got mixed opinions on him. Great, I mean, a good player, but his off the ball work. That's how bored I was watching this game. I can't even remember what the score was, but I remember just watching him off the ball, and his work rate off the ball was second to none. It was phenomenal. But then he get an opportunity for him to go, and he messed it up.
Shin it, yeah.
He couldn't kick his own arse, but like things like that, it happens at every level. So even if you've got that quiet period during the game, you can start talking about like what was on TV last night or whatever, or what happened in the pub or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So you have that period within the game, so it's a social aspect as well.
Exactly. And this is the thing. It's while I will say that the thing that's good about it is the social aspect and the community aspect, and that is true. For the first couple of years I went to Gresley, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't know anybody. I went with a mate originally, but then started going on my own. And
there's nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah,
fine. It's just like,
because you've got a natural love for the game as well. Plus, you're reading about you're doing random sports with your mates as well. You try and do something, find something new to go and do, which I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just doing stuff.
You want to get over here, mate? There's all sorts going on over here, sport wise, that you should get involved with.
Yeah.
If you're up for some new, up for new travels and new sport experiences.
Well, as part of that, one of the best days we had. I mean, I know Belgium and the Netherlands are two different countries, but there are similarities. But
the Flemish language is very Dutch.
Very Dutch, yeah.
Influence as well. But, so they do speak Dutch.
We had one of the best days. One of the best days genuinely the best days I've ever had in my life. We went to Belgium to watch some handball. Not even like
I was going to say handball, but I knew it had been ticked off your list, so I didn't mention handball. But yeah,
so and it wasn't even like international or like Premier Division handball. It was like Belgian second division handball.
Local.
It was brilliant. Like, it's incredibly just at a leisure centre on the outside of this town called.
How did you even find
Tournai.
the fixture?
I think it would have
Facebook or something.
It would have been my mate Eggs who found it, and I mean how he found it, I couldn't tell you, but we're just like, right, actually, Tournai as a town is literally it's just over the border from France. So we got the Eurostar into Lille, and then it was a half-hour train out of Lille into this place called Tournai, which I've never heard of before, and I'll be honest, I'm unlikely to ever go to again. But
it's there. You've ticked it off.
Yeah, we ticked it off, yeah. And but it was brilliant. Like, I'm not saying everybody needs to spend what we spent on a Eurostar train and go and watch second division handball in Belgium. That is a bit too far, maybe. But down the road from you, wherever you live, there is a non-league football team. Like, wherever you are, there is a non-league football
100%.
team, like, very nearby. And
yeah, like I was saying to you before, like before we started recording, there's a team here that I'm still keen to go and watch.
Just go in.
2 seconds down the road,
They'll appreciate your 10
whatever,
euros or whatever, or your €5 or whatever it costs to get in. They'll appreciate that more than you will ever know, because you'll go there, you might have a can of pop and a burger or whatever, or you know what I mean. You'll have to do something while you're there. But like the €20 or whatever you spend with them will be so much more valuable than any €20 you'll ever spend at Celtic Park or or whatever it might be.
Old Trafford or something. Yeah,
absolutely right. So look, there's a non-league football team. It's down the road from everybody. So just go have a look. And if football's not your game, there is a sport. Like, we went to watch second division handball. There'll be some of that somewhere. Just
in Belgium, yeah. If you're ever back out this way, we should go and venture to a local team game.
Pop in, man. Really definitely. I'd love to.
So I've got a mate of mine as well. He's very up for that. My mate, I'm going to give him a shout out because he listened to the last episode as well and thoroughly enjoyed it. So Danny, he loves to travel to random football games up and down the country. I'm not sure. He has ventured to England as well. I'm sure he went to Carlisle recently as well. Or in the past, right. But he's very much in that mindset of just going out, up and going and experiencing something new, which I love. Do you know what I mean?
Perfect.
He's got the time to do it as well, and it's just like, yeah, fair play.
Oh, I love that.
You know,
I've only ever in the return for that. You were saying he's ventured to England once to see Carlisle. I've seen.
I think I think he wanted to go to most grounds in the UK,
Yeah.
Scotland as well, obviously,
Nice.
but I think he wanted to venture down south a bit as well to just experience non-league football or
Good man.
lower league games and things like that as well.
Good man.
I think he went to one in Macedonia recently as
Really?
well. So yeah,
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Okay, here's a game for you. If you had to guess the 2 football grounds in which I've seen a game in Scotland, so an actual league game in two grounds in Scotland I've been to.
So Premier League, Scottish Premier League.
So at the time, one of them was, yeah. So that's a good 10 years ago, but yeah,
One in Inverness.
it wasn't. That was on the list of places we were going to because my mate Bruno from Aberdeen wanted to take us up there.
Yeah.
I'll put you out of your misery because this could go on for weeks.
Oh, I'll begin another guess.
Go on, yeah,
Something.
go on.
Is it very obscure?
No. It really isn't.
No?
Like they're 2 teams you will
Greenock Morton?
absolutely have heard of. That's a decent shout. It might as well have been, yeah. So the two we've
Partick Thistle.
Thistle, yeah. So we saw.
Thistle. Oh, so I've got one at
You
2.
got that.
Right.
There you go.
Good
Lovely
one. Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Lovely stuff.
What did I win?
That was me. That's me playing the neutral, playing the English neutral. Like I'll go and see
Right,
Thistle.
yeah.
I won't plant my flag in either camp. I'll go and see Partick.
Very neutral.
I mean, obviously, I'm not neutral. I'm with you, brother. But
Of course.
So Thistle and the other one, we travelled up. We flew up and went to see Cowdenbeath.
All right, Cowdenbeath.
Yeah. So
So who were they playing against?
Oh my gosh. They absolutely pumped them, whoever it was. They were 3 up inside 20 minutes. They were absolutely superb. The Blue Brazil. I can't remember who they were playing. Oh, it was just a random league game back in February a couple of years back. But yeah.
Oh wow. That's very random.
Had a lovely time. Lovely time. But yeah.
Good pie at halftime.
But, yeah. Nice. It was a nice place, man. That was nice. Although I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure of going to Cowdenbeath. The pubs are
Again, not too different from probably your neck of the woods.
Nah. Proper like working
Do you know
class,
what I mean?
like
Yeah,
salt of
exactly
the earth.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I was good, man. But yeah, the pubs were. It's one of those things where I became incredibly conscious of my accent, and I know I'm not exactly Hugh Grant,
It's fine. You could have said fuck, and then we'd have been in real trouble.
but I'm definitely not Scottish. Lovely stuff. I'm so glad you enjoyed the book, mate.
Honestly, I really enjoyed
glad
it.
to
Really enjoyed it. And again, exactly to those who don't know you, for those who want a bit of a fun read or into football, not even if they're not into football, but it's just the fact that it touches on there's a that I don't know, like that reality that like everyone can sort of relate to the stories in this book as well. Whatever their preferred sport is or whatever their preferred hobby is, traveling to places, traveling with your friends, the stories you come across, the heartache, the good times, the bad times, the shit weather. There's loads of stuff in there that is very relatable. I felt.
That's what I tried to do. I wanted to, sure, anyone can write a football book, but I didn't want it to be like, you can get those things that are just like boring match reports, like, and then we won 1-0, and then we lost 2-1. It's like that just starts to get tedious after a while. So I wanted to be a bit more rounded than that, and I think anybody's interest, right? For me, it's football. And loads of other things, right? I like baseball in the same way that you like NHL and basketball, right? But like for anybody's interests, like it intersects with your life, and it has to, because you have to make time for each of those elements. So if it's football and it's a Saturday and you're going up and back to watch the game, well, that the rest of your life around that, like how does it all intersect? And you can't pretend one exists and one doesn't exist, because they are there. Like they everything interlinks by its very nature. So tying those two things in felt natural, and it felt like a thing that was right. And I don't think enough books about football. It's great to have books about football that talk about the players and Dave's career did this, blah 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 blah. Well, actually, tell me about you, mate. What did you do?
But it's your power of your storytelling as well that comes through for me. It resonates with people who support like a club that's not in a big league as well. So do you know what I mean? It's a testament to your storytelling, and it's a testament to
Thanks.
resonating with those that support clubs that outside of the top top clubs in the world. So yeah, it's well, the top 4 divisions are in England anyway. But yeah, man, it's heartfelt and humorous. So
It's nice to hear.
yeah, I
I
thoroughly enjoyed it.
appreciate
And who knew you had it in you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
Well,
that's a very, very, very valid question.
Well, that's the thing. If anyone else is lucky enough to sit in the pub with you and chat shit for a couple of hours, then we know that you've got some stories as well. So have that in a book format is almost like a little chapter of your life put into that, albeit 10 years.
Yeah.
So, but it's good, man. I really enjoyed it. So congratulations.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. And hopefully we don't wait too long to see each other next time as well.
Yeah. Let's not leave it 3 years, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not even been 3 years. I've seen you a lot. I think it was that.
Yeah. This was more
Yeah,
recent.
I've seen you more recently than that. But yeah,
the principle is true.
Yeah, but I'm glad you're well and everything's good as well, because I know we didn't touch on it in this episode about some of the personal stuff that happened over the last year and a bit. So yeah, we'll maybe leave that for another day. But
yeah,
I'm just glad. I'm glad you're well.
It's part 2 of the story.
Part 2 of the story. Yeah, maybe is there going to be a part 2 of the book? Any future endeavours in the author world?
We'll see.
Yeah? Good.
We'll see. There's certainly a story to be told based on my last 12 months. So we'll see where that ends up.
Stefan, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and big love, brother. Big love.
To get your copy of Stefan's book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Non-League Football, head over to Amazon.com today.